गुड मॉर्निंग एव्हरीवन. वेलकम बॅक टू माय चॅनल. आज आपण इंग्लिश पेपर 2 महाराष्ट्र सेट एक्झामचा एप्रिल महिन्याचा लास्ट इयरचा प्रिव्हियस इयरचा पेपर बघणार आहोत, ज्यामध्ये आपण ऑलरेडी 50 क्वेश्चन्स कवर केलेले आहे आणि आज आपण 51 to 100 क्वेश्चन्स कवर करणार आहोत. तर स्टार्ट करूया. लिबरल ह्युमॅनिझम सीज इंडिव्हिज्युअल ॲज. सो दी राईट आन्सर इज सी, unified and self-determining. Unified and self-determining. Who wrote literature and dogma? Who wrote literature and dogma? That is A. Matthew and Roald. Who is the author of the book India Recalled? So the author of the book India Recalled is Cornel Sorbaji. Cornel Sorbaji. Edward Said talks about Orientalism. The word sing-song is an example of. The word sing-song is an example of reduplication. Reduplication. In which play did the French dramatist Jean Anouilh modernize the Greek myth? So the 56th answer is C. Antigone. Studying a text without talking about account any outside influence is one of the main features of formalist criticism. D is the right answer. Critically analyzing realism, which of the following terms suggests not simply that texts come to a literal close, but that their formal design or narrative movement constructs a position of a reader that reinforces a dominant view of the world. So answer for the 58 is C, cognitive mapping. Spencer's epithalamion is a wedding hymn. R.K. Narayan's first novel, Swami and Friends, was published in 1935. Cornel Sorbaji and Sarojini Naidu were prominent poets in public life associated with women's cause and politics during British rule. Adopt, adapt and adapt are the phrases in post-colonialism. Who wrote the biography The Great Indian Way, The Life of Mahatma Gandhi? That is B. Rajarao. In John Dryden's essay on dramatic pose, who represents Dryden? C. Neander. My mind, my soul grow longer than all space. Time found us in that vastness, glad and nude. These poetry lines are written by Sir Aurobindo Ghosh. Sir Aurobindo. In which among the following the author is replaced by the reader as central agency in the criticism? That is structuralism. Select from the list the title of the book by Edward Said which discusses the relationship between imperial culture and development of novel. So the answer is D, culture and imperialism. In which city was James Joyce's novel Ulysses published on 2nd February 1922? That was in Paris. Milton's Paradise Regained is a sequel of Paradise Lost. Which among the following words is an example of blending? A. Smog. The minimal distinctive unit in the sound system of a language is called as phoneme. T.S. Eliot's first play was T.S. Eliot's first play was Swingy as Agnostis. The conjunction neither nor is an example of a syntactic negation. The term foregrounding is associated with B. The Paraguay school. Which foreign publishing house first published Tagore's translation of Gitanjali? None of this are the None of this is the right answer. All the options are wrong. The words an architect by profession he gave to his novels a design that was architectural, employing each circumstances in the narrative to one accumulated effect speak volumes of the craftsman of Thomas Hardy. Who succeeded Wordsworth as the poet laureate? So B is the right answer, that is Alfred Lord Tennyson. The theorist who discusses about the actual reader and implied reader is Wolfgang Iser. Jacques Derrida draws attention to the necessity of borrowing one's concept from the text of the heritage, which is more or less coherent or unit. Dune, who argues that therefore everyone discourse is C. Briocular. Who among the following poets wrote the poem entitled to Brooklyn Bridge? So the right answer is Hartken. Mary Shelley's novel Frankenstein is an example of Gothic novel. Sir David Landsay's Styry of the Thyre status is called D. That is morality. Morality play. The Japanese film version of Macbeth done by Akira Kurosawa was titled as A. Thorn of Blood. In the sentence, the man who won the Nobel Prize is an economist. The underlined linguistics unit is a or an. Relative relative clause. Who said the modern Western world is the grip of so-called discourses? Foucault Michael. Frederick Jameson viewed that third world texts are necessarily national allegories, has been critiqued by Ajaz Ahad primarily by which of the following argument, that is A. The non-validity of the homogeneous notion of the third world. Longinus on the sublime is written by, that is C. Epistolal form. Appeals to the Christian public is written by Rajaram Mohan Roy. In which of the following novels does the character of Lovelace appear? That is in B. Clarissa. J.M. Snick is known as the Panagist in his much discussed play The Riders to the Sea, who attributes his novelistic negotiations of the tradition and modernity to the trouble burden on the shoulders, the Alps of European tradition and the Himalayan of my Indian past. The answer is C. Mulkraj Anand. The touchstone method was introduced into literary criticism by A. Matthew Arnold. The Foucauldian understanding power is a productive network that runs through the whole social body. Richard Hoggard is associated with cultural studies. Beauty is in the vein that their pretty eyes may roll. Charms strike the sight, but merit wins the soul. In which canto of the Rape of the Lock do the above lines appear? It appears in the canto 5. Canto 5. Which was not the early English history play in the following list? Ralph Royster Doyster, Laus Montrose essay Shaping Fantasies is the fine example for new historism. New historism. Influenced by Saucer in understanding language as a system of structured difference, language signifies the formal rules, conventions that organize language. Philip Sidney's Astrophila and Stella was he from here written in the year. None of the option is right. In in which year was Toby Smollett's novel The Adventure of Roderick Random first published? It was published in 1748. The answer is the right answer. 1748. Okay, thank you. व्हिडिओ आवडला असेल तर लाईक शेअर आणि सबस्क्राईब चॅनलला नक्की करा.